Hello everybody, welcome along. International break means we take stock, have a tidy up of our 1 to 24 predictions. We've now done this pre-season, September, October. This is the November edition of the glorious game of stick or twist on the 1 to 24 predictions. We had a block of 6 games since we last did this, and those are the best performers. We would expect probably to see Leeds, Sunderland and Sheff Utd in there. But look at Cardiff, look at Bristol City, look at Millwall. Maybe they're going to be movers on the list in an upwards direction. And the worst performers, maybe we would expect to see Preston and Oxford, Plymouth, QPR. We've grown used to seeing down there. Hull and certainly not Norwich in that conversation. But there you go. That's what it looked like last time. If you want to hit pause, that is the October 1 to 24s. So let's get in right now and start at the very bottom with Portsmouth. I'm just going to leave them there from where they were last time. Although, if you look on the info there, the last 6 and the XG, particularly the last 6, they've been the 14th best team in the league. So some improvements coming. They're currently 23rd in the table. Colby Bishop is back. Is the home form starting to work a little bit, especially after that win over Preston? We will see. Hopefully we can move Pompey up very soon. In 23rd, look, I've gone up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down again with Plymouth. Look, 20th, 24th, 23rd, 23rd. Basically survived, relegated is what I've done. I've dropped them down to, again, I don't quite know where to pitch them. This might be more to do with other teams at the bottom right now that I'm expecting to possibly move up. We're currently 18th in the table. My worry with Plymouth is they're just too reliant on the home form, and I don't know if that drops off. There's only one direction really to go. But hey, knowing my pattern, next one I'll have them outside the bottom 3 again. And look at that. My God, in 22nd, I'm going to put QPR in now. I have to. Look, we've gone 11th, then 17th. Now we've got to go 22nd. I can't ignore that QPR have been hopeless this season. They're bottom of the table. The last 6 games, they were the worst side in the league as well. We thought Cifuentes was brilliant last year. He's not been brilliant this year. And you just never know if they make a change and they make the wrong change, or if they do nothing. This could be really bad for QPR. I think the squad's good enough for them not to be there. But that is me acknowledging QPR a big chunk of games. Now, how many games have we had? 15, 16? I can't remember what the exact total is on the table. But let's put QPR to go down right now, and maybe we can change that again next time. And we've got to have Cardiff really coming out of the relegation zone, in my humble opinion. They are currently 22nd in the table. And there's this kind of weirdness that Omar Itza is the interim manager, but not the full-time manager, but he's doing a pretty good job. I know a little slip maybe lately, but last 6 games, look, 6th place, XG table as well, they're 5th. So there are some kind of numbers pointing towards that they are going to be moving up the table, but you never know with Cardiff. But right now, I can't have them in the relegation zone, so I've just bumped them up and out of it. And I have to do it with Oxford. Oxford fans will be really pleased. Finally, look, I've gone 24th, 22nd, 22nd. I'm finally taking them out now, Oxford, 20th. They've been really, really good, really impressive. They're in every game. Their home form's great. They're pretty clinical, actually, in front of goal. They're currently 16th in the table, so I don't want to get too crazy. And the trends aren't great. If you look there, last 6 games, 20th, which is where I've got them. It's below where they are. And the XG, they're 24th. In the table. Read into that what you will. Not a bad thing if you're clinical, which they are. So, we'll keep an eye on Oxford. But about time now, after 4 of these videos, that I take them out of the relegation zone. And Preston, I'm just going to leave still. Not much of a bounce, I guess, with Paul Heckingbottom. I don't know. You tell me the numbers. I might be wrong about that. But since Ryan Lowe left, and I'm not saying, as a direct result of Ryan Lowe leaving, that I've gone from kind of middle of the table into the bottom 6 sort of area. I don't know. Last 6 games, they've been 19th, which is where I've got them. I haven't moved them since last time either. XG is in the relegation zone as well, and they're actually a place lower than I've got them. So, doesn't look overly hopeful for Preston being outside of the bottom 6. And if things go really badly, well, you know what's below where they are right now. 18th, I'm slowly kind of edging Derby up, very much like Oxford. I've always had Derby surviving, actually. Look, 21st, 20th. I've now gone up to 18th. They've found a way to win away from home, which is great. 13th in the last block of games, which is going to keep them nice. They're currently 12th in the table. I'm still going to hedge my bets a little bit because, you know, kind of squad-wise, they're weaker than other teams around them, perhaps. But Paul Warne doing a fine job, and the longer they stay in the middle, the more I'm going to keep bumping them up, and hopefully we will meet in no man's land at the end of the season. 17th, Stoke. Normal, throw my hands up in the air with Stoke. Had a really good week, which is never helpful before you do the 1 to 24. They scored 7 points, didn't they? So currently 13th in the table. I'm not going to move them much. I've gone +1. I had them 18th last time, bumped them up to 17th, which is where they are in the XG table, but 10th over the last 6 games. Could they shoot up the table? Yeah. Have I thought they were going to do that many times over the last 5 or 6 years? Yeah. Has it happened? No. So I'll stay calm and I'll cling on to Stoke's coattails if they do move up the table. I'll got them up 1 in 17th. Yeah, and this is just the biggest faller from the start of the season, isn't it? Look, with Luton Town, I have gone 3rd, 8th, 11th. I've got to knock off another 5 now, haven't I? We are a long way into the season. I know you still get those numpties who comment on every video of mine going, it's too early, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. You never comment on anything. We'll see you at game 46. But you've got to acknowledge that Luton have just been way worse than pretty much everybody expected, including me. They're currently 21st in the table, so still got them a good 5 places above where they actually are. I still think it will come right by whatever means necessary, whether that's the manager changing, which they could do, or, you know, just maybe them achieving a bit more of their potential. Last 6 games, they're 16th, which is where I've got them. XG, they're 8th. The squad is not 21st, but that's where they are. So we've got to keep pulling Luton down in the meantime. Swansea, I'm going to leave still in 15th. I know Swans fans probably be a bit annoyed with me because they're currently 11th in the table. But look, in the last 6 games, 15th where I've got them. XG table, 19th. I'm just going to leave them kind of there. I think they're capable of going on a good run. Also think they're capable of going on a bad run. Not quite sure where to pitch Swansea, so I'll stay right where I am. And Blackburn's another one. I'm just keeping moving up. It's a bit more extreme, I guess, than Derby and Oxford. I know they'd had a bad run, Blackburn, but a really good win to round things out, wasn't it? They're currently 9th in the table. I don't know. We're playing the meet in no man's land game again because the numbers say 17th over the last 6th and the XG says 16th. So are they going to finish 9th? I don't think so. But the longer they hang around there, the more I'm going to keep moving them up. Maybe we'll meet around 12th. I don't know. You tell me. And Coventry, what a mess. Did not expect this season to be talking about Coventry having sacked Mark Robins. That has happened. Don't know who the new manager is going to be right now. Could they hire someone who shoots them right up the table? Yes. Could that not happen? Yes, we shall see. So I've got to hedge my bets a little bit. I did have them in the top 4. I think the squad's really good. And the XG is really good. Look, 3rd, but over the last 6 games, 11th. Just haven't put the results together. And yeah, from what Doug King has been saying publicly, they needed to make the change, and that is what he has done. So I'll go 13th. Don't think they're going to be in trouble this season. Just think the squad's too good. They could shoot up the table, but I'll hedge my bets. They're currently 17th, of course. Into the top half. And again, so unsure on Hull. They're currently 19th in the table, and they've had a stinking run over the last 6 games. They've been the 22nd best team. I think the squad is way better than the current 19th place. The XG has got them 6th. Maybe the attacking XG is propping that up because they can't really defend very well at the moment, Hull, can they, or through the season? And I still think one or two things is going to happen here. Either Volta Ball will start working, or Mr. Ilachali will sack him. And maybe there'll be a move towards the middle of the table where I've got them. So I'll leave them there, but slightly concerned and very confused about Hull. Sheffield Wednesday, similar sort of thing. They're currently in 15th. Look, I've been fairly consistent, you can see at least. 10th, 12th, 10th, 11th. So I've knocked them down one place. And that's probably because I think others that we're about to talk about, obviously, are pushing from the middle towards the, the second quartile and the outskirts of the playoffs. Wednesday could do that. They're not doing it right now. So I'll hedge. I'll stay 11th. And there is one of those teams that we put the block of fixtures up, and Millwall have been the best team in the league over the last 6 games in terms of points accumulated. So I've got to make a big move on Millwall right now. I won't go completely crazy. They're 8th in the table. I'll go to 10th. So I've bumped them up a big 5 places. They look like they've got an identity. They look like they're playing well. They look like they've got good momentum. Tanganga looks like a star, so there's reason for it. Let's just stay on 10th and keep calm. I know we're going to have the playoff conversation if they stay up there, but we've got to be bumping Millwall up if they've been the best team points-wise over the last block of games. And we've also got to bump Bristol City up. I've been flip-flopping pretty pathetically with Bristol City. I gambled, didn't I, a little bit. I said 7th at the start of the season, then down to 10th, then down to 13th. I'm coming back up to 9th. So I've kind of almost gone back to where I was at the start of the season, but just knocked off a little bit. They're really hard to beat, Bristol City. I think 1 defeat in 10, and that was in the 98th minute with 10 men against a parachute team in Sheffield United. Last 6, they're 5th. XG has got them 7th, so it does look like second quartile, outskirts of the playoffs, even though they're currently 10th in the table. I've got them finishing one place above that in 9th. And in 8th, it's another acknowledgement here of a team who are a lot better than I thought they would be. That's Watford. I've still got a little bit of an inkling that it's all based on maybe some hot finishing and some good home form, but you just can't argue now that where they are in the table, they're in the top 6. So I've gone 18th, then 16th, then 12th, then 8th. I've made quite a big move this month particularly. It's easier for me to do that now as the games tick off. And yeah, they are looking like definitely a top half team. Are they a top 10 team? A top 8 team? I've got them finishing 8th at the moment. I'll reserve judgment, but I've got to give credit to Tom Cleverley. Excellent job. Right, that's a gamble, okay? I'm leaving Norwich in 7th, and it's a gamble because they've not been very good for the last month. Look, 23rd best team in the league. Only QPR have been worse than Norwich over the last 6 games. XG's dropped off again. XG doesn't particularly matter when you have Borja Sainz, does it? But there you go. Currently 14th in the table. I am not going to move on Norwich and drop them down because I think they've had, there's a big drop-off when the keeper's injured, isn't there? And the central midfield's all been out and Sargent's been out as well. So I think there's a mitigating factor and they'll come back round. So I'm not prepared to move on Norwich down the table yet. Obviously, I will if we're sat here. When will it be? It'll be like FA Cup 3rd round, won't it? Be a lot of games played then. I'll know a lot more. But yeah, I'm going to stay with Norwich just outside the playoffs in 7th. So here comes the top 6. And we'll keep West Brom in there, although a lot of data says they're going to drop down. Maybe the whole host of 0-0 draws that they've had in the last run. They're currently 5th in the table. The last block of games, they've been 12th. The XG's got them 15th. But again, of course, they've got a very good defence. And while Corberon's there, he just seems to know how to not lose games in the Championship and hang around in the playoff spots. Manager's obviously scoring goals. We love fellows, and Corberon seems to do the job. So I've dropped them from 5th to 6th, but I'm keeping them in the playoffs. I don't really see anyone in the pack overtaking them. So that's my take on West Brom. Middlesbrough I've dropped down one place, which seems a bit odd because there's probably been a bit more evidence for them actually being good this past month. But that's mainly to acknowledge another team who we're going to talk about in just a minute, of course. Some sense that Borough might be clicking, but we said this before, haven't we? They're still 2nd in the XG table. And we've had this constant theme with them making a lot of chances, not scoring the goals or winning the games to kind of, back up all those chances they've been making. So I've dropped them from 4th to 5th, but I do still expect them to be in the playoffs. But they're currently not in the playoffs. They're currently 7th. Bit of an enigma. Borough. And there is the team that we've got to put above them now. And Sunderland are still first in the table. So it's time for people like me, who had them 15th at the start of the season, to just acknowledge Sunderland is just a good side. And they do. And maybe I'll get to this, because we haven't had one of the parachute teams I'm about to talk about. They do look a match for the majority of those teams, don't they? So, look, I've gone 15th, up to 7th, up to 6th, into the top 4 now. If Sunderland can still be in that automatic race, then I'm going to keep moving them up. But at the moment, I'm trying to do two things. I'm trying to acknowledge the brilliant work they've done and Regis Labrise has done, and what a good team, frankly, they are. But I've also got to acknowledge the power of the parachute teams, and you need to do something special to get past them. Sunderland look like they're capable of doing it. I just need to see a little bit more evidence, okay? Hope you understand, Sunderland fans, that I've just paid you compliments for probably the last 2 minutes. Don't take that 4 as an insult. I'm going to leave Burnley still. And look, I've gone second, third. So third is where we've got Burnley. They're currently 4th in the table. That's because of Sunderland, basically, isn't it? Shoving everybody down a place, I think. The last block of games hasn't been great for Burnley. The goals have dried up a little bit. They were running hot at the start of the season, weren't they? So 8th in the form table and 9th in the XG table intimates that they're not an automatic promotion team, but it's Scott Parker, isn't it? And he always seems to manage to wangle his way in there somehow. But it's looking more like a playoff team than a top 2 team right now. But they've got a great squad, haven't they? So that could change. So I'm not going to move on Burnley. And I'm also not going to move on Sheffield United, who we had to bump up to second last time around. And the journey with Sheffield United has been, I was worried pre-season, didn't know what the ownership was doing, didn't know what the squad was going to look like, sales, etc. And then we get to the transfer window, and it all kind of looks okay. And if you can keep hold of Ahmed Odzic, Harmer, Souza, and then the additions they've made, O'Hare, Moore, Campbell's looking good now, Sutar, Cooper, they've recruited well amongst some real, it looked like Premier League players, especially those first few I mentioned. And Wilder's doing a good job of getting a tune out of them. They're brilliant defensively. -2 points, who cares? They'd be top of the table, wouldn't they, if it wasn't for that. So I'm going to keep Sheffield United in the top 2. I don't think there's anybody better than them, other than the one team I'm about to mention. They need to steer clear of injuries. I don't think they've got the depth maybe other teams have got. But let's leave them right where they are in second. And I'm going to leave Leeds right where they are. When it gets to the top of the table, guys, I don't like to mess about. So I have left my 1, 2, 3 completely as it was. I've just covered this league too long. And I just know that the powerful teams in the end, I don't want to make it about money, but it does talk in the end, doesn't it? So I'm not going to go crazy if I don't all of a sudden see them exactly where they are right now, because it tends to work itself out as you get through past the second transfer window. I've been saying Leeds top all the way through. The XG says they're the best team in the league. The last 6 says they're the second best team in the league. That's behind Millwall, of course. They are currently 3rd in the table. Brilliant start from Sunderland and Sheffield United. So I'm not going to move on Leeds. They've done pretty well, haven't they, to mitigate the absence of their first choice central midfielders, Grueff and Ampadu so far. Maybe the feedback I get from some of the Leeds fans is they're not as thrilling or as spectacular as they were at times with Rutter and Somerville last season, but they do tend to be controlling games and knocking over the teams they need to knock over. They need to win some games on the road. I think it's been a few weeks since that, but they're winning all their home games at the moment. And it feels like with Leeds, they're never quite too far from a run of, say, 6 wins, a draw and a loss in 8 games. Something like that, where they really start putting the hammer down. So I'm going to keep Leeds in first. So there it is, guys. That is the November international break version of the 1 to 24 video with Pompey, Plymouth, and QPR getting relegated. And listen very carefully, guys. I don't want to see anybody go down, but they're the three I'm going with at the moment. We'll talk about your comments in a minute, but you've got to pick three if you're going to do this. I've got Leeds and Sheffield United automatic. Haven't changed that. I've got Burnley playing West Brom in the playoffs and Sunderland facing Borough. Let me know your thoughts. And please do have your say. And I have to do these on these videos. And people get cross with me for these spiels at the end. But I'm sorry if you're one of the people that comment sensibly with balance. I'm not talking to you. And don't get cross about me making this. It's important I feel that I do this because as a species, we're learning to cope with social media and the internet. And I feel my part is to say this every time. That, on average, the comments we get on these videos are pretty mental, I have to say. Please keep calm. That's my first thing. If you're not calm, please don't comment, yeah? Go and think about it some more. If you're triggered by anything I've said, it's a predictions video. It's football. Chill out. Don't get cross. Please don't add any conspiracies, okay? I have just sat here for the entire morning with various spreadsheets, sign up on Patreon and I'll show them to you, and tried to do my best at figuring out what the table is. Yeah? I've not put anybody in a specific place because of the number of fans they've got, some weird agenda I've got against their team, something to do with me, something to do with where I live, something to do with who I support, something to do with something I said on the channel 5 years ago or something that somebody bookmarked. I'm being honest, okay? Please don't put your tinfoil hat on and give me agendas and conspiracies. As ever, multivariant analysis needed. 90% of the moronic comments I get on this are somebody who supports a team in the list and they think emotionally and tribally, they look at it and their heart tells them that they want me to put their team higher. And that is all the thought they've given it. I hope you understand and respect that I've given it quite a lot more thought than that. And if you move one team, you've got to move another. Yeah? And if you're telling me that team's not going to get relegated, all I'm going to ask you is, okay, fine, who is going to get relegated? And it all leads to the bottom one there. Have a try yourself. It's supposed to be fun. Someone will get a lot of these right. Probably not me. I'm trying my best, but my record's not great with these. But it's supposed to be fun and a conversation piece. So do get involved in the comments. And apologies, as usual. The people that need to hear this probably aren't listening. And the people that don't are probably annoyed that I'm bashing them over the head with it. But I've got to try and do my bit for sensible discourse on YouTube. Because there isn't a lot of it. But there is a lot of football to talk about. And I want to get your comments on your 1 to 24s and my 1 to 24s for the November international break. Away you go. Thanks for watching.